Monarch Legacy of Monsters episode 4 is upon us with this new episode entitled Parallels and Interiors. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my review for the latest episode of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Now the title of this, Parallel and Interiors, is in reference to an art show. Yes, an art show put on by Kentaro. So this episode here, we'll get into that in a bit. This episode here kicks off in 2015 at Research Station 47, or Outpost 47, which is a small caravan in Utah, where this lone individual, she is working away, not doing much, and she gets a reading, a substantial reading, a reading that matches the reading that came prior to the 2015 attack by Godzilla, or the 2014 attack by Godzilla. Obviously she works for Monarch, and Monarch obviously had these outposts scattered all around the place monitoring for activity of Titans. This makes up a small part of the episode that doesn't particularly go anywhere of any substance. That'll be in a future episode. Now there's no element of this episode is played out in the past in 1950s. Wyatt Russell himself isn't in this episode. That storyline will probably be back next week. This episode primarily focuses around Kurt Russell and the team who are stranded on the ice with this Titan in pursuit of them, the one that we saw last week. The one that sucks all the heat out of the air and freezes everything. So it's a survival story of them on the ice. Kate, Kentaro, May and Shaw. Kentaro believes that from the plane he saw a structure, whilst the others don't really believe him, and you know, they don't want to go in that direction because there's a light in another direction, a light that they're sort of drawn to, a light that they believe might be an oil rig or a settlement, something like that. So the episode is primarily set around there, but you do get these flashbacks to the first meeting of Kentaro and May, and this all evolves around an art studio that's selling some of Kentaro's stuff. And so yeah, you've got all that going on as well as everything else. For me, I thought this was my least favourite of the episodes thus far. I mean, it was good, don't get me wrong, it was good, but it wasn't on level with the other four. It was a bit slower, a bit more subdued, shall we say. It's nice to see Kurt Russell back on the ice, obviously, fighting monsters. But yeah, really, the episode delves into the relationship between Kentaro and May and fills in a bit of backstory on them and all this sort of stuff, while really not progressing the story too much. The gang, Shaw, Kate, Kentaro and May, they do get rescued by Monarch at the end of the episode. And they whilst on this helicopter, they witness the light, and the light isn't a structure or a settlement or an oil rig. It's a hole in the ground where this light is emanating and coming out from. And this is what is inevitably, if you remember in Godzilla vs. Kong, when they take Godzilla down into the centre of the earth, this is that entrance. This will be that entrance having been found, kind of a thing. Yeah, so all in all, it's an okay episode, not as thrilling as previous episodes. It does feel more akin to a filler, in a sense. I did kind of miss the stuff set in the 1950s. I felt it lacked because of that. That wasn't included in this. decent production as always. Yeah, it was okay, just not the best of the lot. That's all I can say, really. Now we have it. It's AJ, and I'll be back next week for my review of the next episode.